Hi, good morning, students. Okay, good morning. So, last class we were discussing about the various types of shaper, the shaper parts, everything. So, this class we will start with a comparison between shaper and planner. And today we will have a brief outlook on a planner types, the various types, and the work holding devices of planner and the surface roughness of the system. So, today's topic is like last class we were discussing about shaper. Now we are discussing about planner. Planner. So, now we will start with a difference so that you will have an idea of both together. Okay, basically all this comes under lathe, but now today we are going to discussing about a comparison between a shaper and a planer. So in the case of shaper, you see these are light in constructions. In the case of planer, it is heavy, that means it's large and heavy. So or more, so when it is light in construction means it is always comparatively smaller. So what happens, requires less floor space area. So but in the case of planer, it is having more floor area. And in the case of shaper, we have a tool reciprocating where the workpiece is always stationary. But in the case of planer, you have the tool stationary and the workpiece is moving. It is vice versa. To just have a comparative study where the case of a shaper, the tool will be reciprocating. That is the to and fro motion of the piston or the arrangement is taken. The forward and the backward motion is being taking place in the case of reciprocating machines. Already we have discussed that the both the shaper and the planer both comes under the case of reciprocating machines. So now here the tool in the case of a shaper, the tool reciprocate and the workpiece is stationary. But in the case of planer, the tool is stationary and the workpiece is moving. Now, shaper tools are comparatively very simple when compared to others, but the planar tools are quite massive. Then, in the case of shaper, we are using only a single tool, but in the case of a planner, we are using more than one tool can be used. Now, in the case of a shaper, perfect accuracy is not obtained, but in the case of a planer, maximum accuracy will be obtained. But in the case of a planer, maximum accuracy will be obtained. That's what happens. Now, in the case of a shaper, adopted for small work, but in the case of a planner, it is adopted for large work. Then, in the case of shaper, it is used for batch or job shop production. It is mainly used for job batch wise or job for production, but in the case of planner it is used for mass production. Then here in the case the cost of the machine is less, but in the case of a planner the cost of the machine is high. So after having this comparative study, you will be having an idea of both the shaper as well as a planner. You will be having an idea of both the shaper as well as a planner. So that's what we are saying about the shaper and the planner. Okay, now we will come with a drive mechanism of a shaper. Okay, we will come with a drive mechanism of a vehicle. So the two important mechanisms of a planer are table drive mechanism, feeding mechanism, and the different mechanism used to table are open and cross belt drive, reversible motor drive, and hydraulic drive. So in the case of table time mechanism, the variable space in the table and the table will be moving. That's happening. In the case of feeding mechanism, automatically we will be most probably in the case of shaper we having a ramp and it will be a to and from movement. So the different mechanism used to drive the table are open and cross belt drive, reverse motor drive, then hydraulic drive. So today we are going to discuss about an open and cross belt drive. So first, you have to see the main parts of an open and cross belt drive quick return mechanism. It comes with a counter shaft. This is the cross belt. This is the belt shifter. This is the trip dog. This is the loose pulleys, and this is the main driving shaft. And this is the fast pulleys, and this is the speed reduction gearbox and driving pinion, bedways, rack, table, all this maximum of all the parts we have been already discussed in various shaping and shaping and plotting and planning machine. So almost the same, but in this mechanism, the movement of the table is affected by an open belt. Here we have an open belt and a cross belt drive. Here the movement of the table is always controlled with the help of an open belt and a cross belt drive. The open belt connects the smaller looser pulley. So here the open belt always connects the small loose pulley. So no motion is transmitted by the open belt to the main shaft. So in this mechanism, mainly in this mechanism, the movement of the table is affected by an open belt and a cross belt drive. In this mechanism, always the movement of the table is affected by an open belt and a cross belt drive. But the open belt connects the smaller loose pulley. Always the open belt, what happens? It always connects the small loose pulley. Okay, and the pulley. Then so no motion. Here the main thing is that the no motion is transmitted by the open belt to the main shaft. Here we say that no motion is transmitted to the open belt to the main shaft. That's what happens. Now during the cutting stroke, so almost we know all this process, material removal will be taking place a rapid rate. So what happens is during the cutting stroke, the belt connects the larger fast pulley. So in the cutting stroke, almost the belt always connects the larger fast pulley. So the motion is transmitted by the cross belt to the main shaft. So always the motion is transmitted by the cross belt to the main shaft. Then the greater arc of contact the cross belt gives greater power and speed is reduced in the belt cons diameter for the shaft and large diameter pulley on the main shaft. This is what happens. So during the cutting stroke, always the cross belt connects the large fast pulley. So the motion is transmitted by the belt or the cross belt to the main shaft. So what happens? Always the motion is being transmitted from the cross belt to the main shaft. This is the main shaft. From the cross belt to the main driving shaft is being the transmitted. The power is being the feed is being transmitted. So the greater arc of corner of the press gives greater power, and the speed is reduced to the belt cuts smaller diameter pulley on the counter shaft. At the end of the forward stroke, a trip dog pushes the belt shifter. So at the end of the forward movement, the forward stroke, automatically what happens? A trip dog pushes the belt shifter through a lever arrangement. With the help of a lever arrangement only, we are able to push the forward stroke to the drip stroke. So this is what happens over here. So cross belt transfers to the main shaft, and the main shaft has a forward motion, and the belt shifts, and the belt shifts the belts to the right side. Now this is what happens in the case of a what happened in the case of open rhythm. Then in the case of an sorry, this is what happens in the case of in the case of an open and cross belt drive mechanism. Okay, and it can also named as drive quick return mechanism as comes back. Now the open belt is shifted to the smaller fast pulley. Now the open belt is shifted to the smaller. We have the smaller shaft pulley, fast pulley, and cross belt is shifted to the larger loose pulley. Now the motion is transmitted to the main shaft to the open belt, and no motion is transmitted to the main shaft to the cross belt. So there's a changeover where now the motion will be transmitted to the main shaft through the open belt, and no motion is transmitted to the main shaft to the cross belt. But the direction of rotation of the main shaft is reversed. In this case, the direction of rotation of the main shaft will be always reversed. So the return stroke of the table will be always taking place. So the speed during the return stroke is increased as the open belt connects the mechanism. Thus, a quick return motion is obtained by the mechanism. Finally, a quick return motion is always obtained by the mechanism, where at the end of the return stroke, mainly at the end of the return stroke, the belts are shifted to the left side by another drop. So the cycle is repeated. So it is mainly happening what in the movement of material. So we have already discussed in the offline classes about this. Now this what we say is was about open and cross belt drive quick return mechanism, where there is a changeover from the main shaft and the small shaft with respect to the main and the small gear shaft to the forward movement for the cutting operation. Now in the second case, that's in the second case, it is a reversible motor drive quick return mechanism. In the same case, it is a reversible motor drive tube mechanism. So here, this is the figure reversible motor drive tube mechanism, and here we have bull gear for arrangement. So mainly what happens is here the system mainly consists of an AC motor which is coupled with a DC generator. Okay, here the system is mainly consisted with an AC motor. I hope so. You know, AC motor, alternate current and direct current generator, where a DC motor and a reversing switch. So when the AC motor runs, automatically when the AC motor runs, the DC motor will receive the power from the DC generator. So this is the main criteria over here in the case of an reversible motor drive quick return mechanism. Here we have an AC motor which is coupled with a DC generator. Here we have an AC motor which is always coupled with a DC generator. So when the AC motor runs, so automatically when the AC motor runs, okay, DC motor will receive power from the DC generator. The DC motor will receive power from the DC generator. At that time, the same time, the table moves in forward direction. At the same time, what happens is the table always moves in the forward direction. At the end of this stroke, okay, mainly at the end of this stroke, a trip dog actuates on electrical reversing switch. At the end of this stroke, always a trip dog actuates an electrical reversing switch. Due to this action, it reverses the direction of current in DC generator with increased current strength. Now the motor rotates in reverse direction with higher speed. Now always the motor rotates in reverse direction with a higher speed. So this is what I'm saying. At this time, the table moves in forward direction. Okay. While this is all happening, always the table moves in forward direction. But at the end of the stroke, but at the finally coming to the end of the end stroke, a trip dog actuates an electrical reversing switch. A trip dog is present which actuates an electrically reversing switch is activating. Due to this action, due to this action, the reverse the direction of the current is the DC generator with increased current set. The mainly due to this action, what happens is the reverse the direction of the current in the DC generator with increased current strength. Whereas now the motor will rotate in reverse direction with higher speed. In this case, automatically the motor will rotate in reverse direction with the higher speed. This is what happens. Or will reverse direction higher speed. So the table moves. So always the table moves in the reverse direction to take the return stroke with comparatively high speed. So automatically what happens is the table moves in the reverse direction to take the return stroke with comparatively high speed. This all happens in the case of an what happened in the case of a reversible motor drive quick return mechanism. So there's a small difference. Here we have a motor with respect to the before one. Now the distinct advantages of electrical drive over a belt drive are, yeah, this is an added data where we have the cutting speed, stroke length, stroke position can be adjusted without stopping the machine. Here we can be done with the help without stopping the machine. And large number of cutting speeds and return speeds are available. Quick and accurate control. There, return speed can be greatly increased, reducing the idle time. Because the forward motion, reverse motion, we were saying in the case of even in the case of shaper, but in this case we have a return speed can be greatly increased, reducing the idling time. We can increase it. The main advantage is large number of cutting speeds and return speeds are available, and also without stopping the machine, cutting speed, stroke length, stroke position can be adjusted. Okay, this is what we say in the case of engine. Now we say about a hydraulic drive quick return mechanism. All comes in return mechanism. Now this is about an hydraulic. The previous one was a reversible motor, and the first one and the half one was open and cross belt drive quick return mechanism. Okay, first. So all these different mechanisms are used to drive the table R. Used to drive the table R. First one was open and cross belt drive. Second one was a reversible where we can change the speed without stopping the machine. Now the final one comes is the hydraulic drive quick return mechanism. Now it comes to the hydraulic drive quick return mechanism. Okay. So in the case of a hydraulic drive quick return mechanism, the hydraulic drive is quite similar to that used as a horizontal shaper. We are comparing with a shaper machine. So the hydraulic drive is quite similar to that used for a horizontal shaper that we discussed in the last class. Now, more than one hydraulic cylinder may be used to give a wide range of speeds. In this case, we have more than one hydraulic cylinder which may be used to give a wide range of speeds. Then the main drawback of a hydraulic drive on large planers is irregular movement of the table due to the compressibility of the hydraulic fluid. This is the main drawback. So it is not much widely applicable. Okay, so in the case of a hydraulic drive quick return mechanism, the hydraulic drive is quite similar to that used for horizontal shaper. Here the hydraulic drive, which is quite similar to that used for horizontal shaper. Then more than one hydraulic cylinder may be used. In this case, more than one hydraulic cylinder may be used to give a wide range of speeds. It's merely to give a wide range of speeds. So the main drawback, okay, the main drawback of the hydraulic drive longer planers is irregular movement of the table due to the compressibility of the hydraulic fluid, mainly due to the compressibility of the hydraulic fluid. Now this comes the various types. Now we are going to say about feed mechanism of a planer. So previously or before we have discussed about various feed mechanisms. Can Nived Kumar tell me, wow, in which all cases we have discussed the feed mechanism, which all factors, according to which all factors? Nived Kumar, can you just tell me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, in the case of feed mechanism, we are talking about a planer. So before that, also we have discussed the feed mechanism for various aspects in our offline classes. Do you remember? ഏതായിരുന്നു എന്ന്? Nived, what was the previous topic we have discussed in the class?
Feed mechanism indeed.
What? Sorry?
Feed mechanisms.
Okay, feed mechanisms of. It was not about planer, it was something else. It was about
Shaping machine.
it was about the shaping machine, right? The same way now we have about the playing machine. Okay, fine. Now in a planner, the feed is provided intermediately and at the end of the return stroke similar to a shaper. So what happens is in the planner, the feed is provided intermittently at the end of the return stroke. Okay, the always the planner the feed is provided in the intermittent state. Intermittently means the one by one process or at the end of the return stroke. Okay, in a not in a regular format, in a prescribed format or in a what one by one basis we can say at the end of the return stroke, where similar to that of a shaper. Now the feed of a planer, both down feed and cross feed, is given by the tool head. So what happens in the case of planer is you should have a always have a comparison with the shaper mechanism, because we have discussed everything about the shaper. Now we are into a planer machine where it is almost it's always vice versa. It's or it is always in a comparative study, or it is almost so. If we know one, we can write the other three. Not even the planer, also about the slotting machines also. Okay, now in a planer, okay, now we say in a planer, the feed is provided intermittently at the end of the return stroke. Okay, in a planer, the feed is provided intermittently at the end of the return stroke, similar to a shaper, where the feed of a shaper, both down feed and the cross feed, is given by the tool head. So, the case of a feed of a planer, both the down feed and the cross feed is given by the tool head. So, the down feed is applied while machining a vertical or angular surface by rotating the down feed screw to the tool head. This is what happens in the case of a planer. So I hope so you have seen the figure before. Now in the field means it is almost same but similar to shaper. But here the difference is the feed of a planer, both down feed and cross feed. We have both down feed and cross feed, which is always given by the tool head, where the down feed is applied while machining a vertical or angular surface. Where is the down feed applied? It is always applied while machining only a vertical or angular surface, which can be done by rotating the down feed screw of the tool head. It can be done only by rotating the down feed screw of the tool head. So now the cross feed is given while machining horizontal surfaces. Okay, the cross feed is given while machining the horizontal surfaces. But in the previous case, the down feed is applied while machining vertical or angular surfaces. But the cross feed is given while machining horizontal surface by rotating the crude feed. The screw passes through a nut in the tool head. There's a change. There's a vice versa, where we have to correctly understand where both the down feed and tool feed, while the down feed, okay, we have both the down feed and the cross feed. But in the case of down feed, it is applied to the machining while machining of a vertical or angular surface. Okay, both vertical and angular surface, rotating by the down feed screw the total head. But in the case of a cross feed, we have a machining which is horizontal surface by rotating the cross feed screws through the nut in the tool head. Now, in the case of down feed, bevel gear meshes with other bevel gear slides on the spline shaft. Now, in the case of down feed, bevel gear meshes with other bevel gear slides on the spline shaft. This is what happens in the case of down feed. Down feed is bevel gear. So always it has the bevel gear. So the bevel gear meshes with another bevel gear. Okay, slides on the spline shaft. And in the case of cross feed, the spur gear meshes with another spur gear which is keyed to the cross feed screw. So in the case of down feed, always the bevel gear meshes with the bevel gear slides on the spline shaft. And in the case of cross feed, the spur gear meshes with another spur gear which is key to the cross feed screw. So this is what happens in the case of the cross feed and down speed. Now for an extra information, we can say the power from the spline shaft is transmitted to the cross feed screw. Okay, always the power from the spline shaft is transmitted to the cross feed screw, which is we are told in the before in the above paragraph. Then the rotation is transmitted to the tool head through a nut. This also we have discussed. Now the tool head moves horizontally. So in this case, automatically the tool head moves horizontally. It is known as cross feed. At the end of the time, the pawl slips over the ratchet and the ratchet wheel does not rotate. So it locks the ratchet and the wheel does not rotate. So in the case of a feed mechanism of a planner, we have both down feed and cross feed. According to the requirement, we are doing it with the help of a horizontal surface, and it can be adjusted with the help of a nut and a tool head screw. That's what happens. Now we will come with an front view and top view of a feed mechanism of a planer. So now we will be discussing the automatic feed mechanism and the various cutting tools of a planer and the size of a planer, specification of a planer, and the work holding devices of a planer. So now we will get the automatic feed mechanism. The power feed may be applied by frictional disc and electrical drive. Okay, both. You most probably will be having an electrical drive. A modern planers which are equipped with electrical drive, it uses a separate motor to operate the feed mechanism with a reversing mechanism. This is what happens in the case of a modern planers. So in the case of a modern planers which are equipped with electrical drive, so most probably we have friction disk and electrical drive, but in the modern cases and due to the availability, we are mostly using modern planers which are equipped with electrical drive. So it uses the main thing is it uses a separate motor to operate the feed mechanism. Okay, the main thing is it always uses a separate motor according to the requirement, according to the functionality, according to the other aspects, other machining aspects, whether it's heavy or normal. We consider a motor which uses a separate motor to operate the feed mechanism with the reversing mechanism. That is what happens. Now, cutting tools for now you can say cutting tools for planers. So the cutting tools used on planers are all are single point cutting tools. Okay, mainly the cutting tools used in planer are all what single point cutting tools. So you see the straight roughing tool, the bent roughing tool, the dovetail side cutting tool, the grooving tool. Okay, all this comes in a planer where we have various types of a planer and the cutting tool operations will be taking place. So now we have various types of planar tools. Okay, now we have various types of planar tools. So this is what happens in the case of a cutting tool because all these are comes in a single point cutting tool. Okay, all this comes in a single point cutting tool. So now we have a straight roughing tool, then bend roughing tool, it's RH on right hand side and left hand side. Then we have a finishing tool. Okay, then we have a finishing tool. Now this is what happens. Then we have finishing tool. Then all this comes into the various types of planar tools. Okay, we can say cutting tool for planar, or we can say planar tools also. Okay, now just in the meantime, the cutting tools for planar, just note down the straight roughing tool, bend roughing tool, finishing tool, all that figures within 5 minutes of time. You just note it down. Everyone, just please draw it in your notebook. Okay, name it as planar tools and various types of cutting tools for planar tools, and just note down the figures. All are small figures. Hope so. You have started. Can anyone say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hope so. You completed drawing it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll start with the cutting tools for a planer. So I hope so. You have drawn the various types like planer tools, like the straight rounding tool, the bend roughing tool, and the finishing tool. All this you have drawn. So now, and the dovetail slide cutting tool, grooving tool, ghost neck tool, round nose tool, and T-slot cutting tool. All this you have to draw. So now we start with the cutting tools for shaper. These are the various tools which are required for the Okay, for the planar mechanism. So this is the mainly the cutting tools. Okay, now cutting tool used on planers are all single point cutting tools. In the previous case also, in all cases we have taken single point cutting tool. Where we have discussed about single point cutting tools. Asaf, can you tell me where we have discussed the single point cutting tools? In which case before, right, previously? Muhammad Asaf?
Yes, sir.
Where we have discussed about the single point cutting tool, in which case before, priorly than this topic?
Shaper.
Fine. Yeah, in shape. That's so. I just asked a question. Nothing else. Okay, thank you. Now, cutting tool used on planers all are single point cutting tools. Then they are in general and similar. Okay, they are in general similar in the shapes and tool angles to those used on a lathe and the shaping machine. So, in the case of cutting tool used on planers all are single point cutting tool. That's the first point to be noted. All are single point cutting tools. Now, they are generally similar in shapes and tool angles. Almost all are similar, identical or similar in shapes and tool angles to those used on lathe and shaping machine. To those used on shape and lathing machine. As a planar tool has to take up heavy cut and cost feed during a long cutting stroke, the tools are made heavier and larger in cross section. As we have told during the comparison study between the shaper and the planer, it is almost heavy to heavy. It is almost used in heavy operations. So we tell as a planer tool has to take up heavy cut and cross feed during a long cutting stroke. Always a planer tool has to take up a very heavy cut and coarse feed during a long cutting stroke. The tools are all the tools which are made for planer are always heavier and larger in cross section. Now, planer tools may be solid, forged type, or bit type according to the purpose, according to the requirement, and according to the availability of the raw materials. We can say the planer tools may be of solid, forged type. I hope so. You know what you mean forging and or bit type. Then bits are made up of high speed steel. Okay, HSS high speed steel, satellite or cemented carbide, and they may be braced, welded, or clamped on the mild steel shank. This is what happens. So the bits, mainly small bits, the bits. So the bits are made of high speed steel, right, or cemented carbide, and they may be braced, welded, or clamped on a mild steel shank. And the cemented carbide tip tools are used for mainly for the production work. The cemented carbide tip tools. Okay, the cemented carbide tip tools are used mainly for the production work. Then a planer tool may also be classified as right hand or left hand and roughing or finishing. A planer tool may be also classified as a right hand or a left hand and roughing or finishing operation. This is what happens in the case of a cutting tool. So the various types are straight roughing tool, that's the right hand side, left hand side, the bend roughing tool according to the various angle, then the dovetail side cutting tool, then for grooving we have the grooving tool, then for the round nose, square nose we have certain tools, straight, then T-slot cutting tool, round nose tool, gooseneck tool. All these are the various tools. So this is what happens in the case of an various types of cutting tools used for them. So the round nose, the square nose, and the straight finishing tool are mainly used for the finishing cuts. Okay, what all? The round nose, you see, the round nose, the square nose, and the straight finishing tools are mainly used for the finishing stuff. And the dovetail cutting tools are used for cutting dovetails. Okay, and the dovetail, this is the dovetail cutting tools. Okay, and the dovetail cutting tools are mainly used. The dovetail cutting tool are mainly used for cutting dovetails, and the grooving tool. Okay, now comes with the grooving tool. This is the grooving tool. The grooving tool is used for cutting the various slots and grooves. Okay, the grooving tool is mainly used for cutting the various slots and grooves. And the side tool. Okay, the side tool. The side tool is used for finishing vertical surfaces, and the T-slot cutting tools are used for cutting T-slots. This is what happens. Like now, the first case we can say straight and bend roughing tool. So the roughing tools are mainly used for taking roughing cuts. The straight roughing tools are used for machining horizontal surfaces, and the buff bent roughing tools are used for machining vertical surfaces. Both are same. Roughing tools are used for taking roughing cuts, where the straight roughing tools, okay, the straight roughing tools are used for making horizontal surfaces, and the bent roughing tools are mainly used for making vertical surfaces. This is what happens in the various types of cutting tools used in a planning machine. Now, Now we will discuss about the size of a planer and the specifications of a planer. Okay. So now the size of a planer, the size of the largest rectangular solid that can reciprocate under the tool. It can mean the size of a planer, specifications of a planer. It's mainly the size of the largest, okay, the size of the largest rectangular solid, okay, the size of the largest rectangular solid that can reciprocate under the tool, and the maximum length of the table and the maximum stroke length of the table can be achieved. Then it always discusses the power of the motor which has been taken, then range of speeds and the according to feeds available, then the type of drives, type of drives also, and the type of feeds also, the type of feeds and the types of drives required, then the horizontal distance between the two vertical housings, then the net weight of the machines and the floor area of the required. These are the main specifications of the planner which we have discussed in the previous session, the planner itself. Now the size of a planner, and we have told doing this comparison between the shaper and the planner almost all the points, almost a certain points. Like so here we have the size of the largest rectangular solid, meaning to the size of the largest rectangular solid that can reciprocate under the tool, which can always reciprocate under the tool. Then second one is the maximum length of the table and the maximum stroke length of the table. Both are there. Maximum length of the table and the maximum stroke length of the table, movement of the table. Then, according to the purpose, according to the requirement specifications, the power of the motor which has been employed, then the range of speeds and the feeds available, what all types of speed and the feeds are required, then type of feed, according to the purpose, the type of feed and the types of drives required, then the horizontal distance between the two vertical housings, then the net weight, okay, then the net weight of the machine and the floor area required. All this comes into action. Now we will be saying about the work holding devices in a planer. Okay, so these are mainly the work holding devices in a planing machine or a planner. Okay, work holding devices. So a planer table is used to hold. We have already told the before itself, hold very large, heavy, and intricate, that is complex work pieces, and in many cases, large number of identical work pieces are also produced or manufactured, you can say. So this is what happens in the case of a work holding devices used in a planer, where a planer table is used. Okay, work holding devices used in a planer, where a planer table is used, where a planer table is used. Then a planer table is used to hold very large, heavy, and complex work pieces, and in many cases, large number of identical work pieces have been employed. Then the work should be rigidly fixed on the table. Okay, the work should be rigidly fixed on the table, and work surface should be in proper position. And here the work surface should be in proper position. Then the work pieces may be held on a planer table by the following methods. The work pieces may be held on a planer table by the following methods. First one by standard clamping, second one by special fixtures. Okay, this is what happens in the case of work holding devices used in a planer. Means it is to hold very large, heavy, intricate shapes. In many cases, a number of identical work pieces are manufactured. Then the workpiece should be rigidly fixed on the table, and the work surface should be in proper position. Okay, the workpiece may be held in planer table by the following: by standard clamping, by special features. Now, standard clamping devices. What are the standard clamping devices? According to the requirement, we can say heavy duty vices. Okay, that we can see in a workshop. T-bolts, step blocks, and clamps. Clamps are used, and stop pins and toe dogs, angle plates, planer jacks, planer jacks, planer centers, V blocks. That's what. So it is always it's before only. Okay, the same we have told before itself. Like it is a heavy duty vices are there, T-bolts are there. It is only for holding the workpiece firmly, because when the operation is going on, heavy amount of energy, heat, and load is applied. So it may want to dislocate the workpiece from the table. So in order to avoid that, in order to voltage it properly and to have a very fixed and precise dimension at the time of operations, we use this various types of mainly of standard clamping devices for the purpose. Now, while doing the workpiece, we have certain operations like what we can say: cutting speed, feed, depth of cut, machining time for planing machine also. Because for a planing operation, the cutting speed is the rate at which the metal is removed during the cutting stroke, expressed in meter or minute. Okay, so according to the requirement. So what we say is the cutting speed. Like, so always in a cutting speed is required for the material removal rate. So of a planing operation, of a planning operation is the rate at which, like, it is always the rate at which the metal is removed during the cutting stroke. Okay, the metal is removed during the cutting stroke, expressed in meter or minute. Then feed in planing process is the distance of the tool head travel across the word for the next cut expressed in per double stroke. That's what happens. Okay, in millimeter per double stroke. That's what happens. Okay, now feed in planing process is the distance of the tool head travel. Okay, it's mainly the distance of the tool head travel across what for the next cut expressed in millimeter per double stroke. Now the depth of cut. It is the thickness of the material removed in one cut. It is mainly the thickness of the material removed in one cut measured between the machine and unmachined surface expressed in millimeters. Okay. That's what we say. Now the cutting speed. When the cutting speed is the planning operation, which is the rate of which the metal is removed during the cutting stroke, and the expressed in meters per minute. Now the feed is the planning process in the distance and the tool head travels. The tool head travels across what for next cut expressed in millimeter per double stroke, and depth of cut is the thickness of the material. The thickness of the material removed in one cut measured between the machine and unmachined surface expressed in millimeter. Then machining time is the calculation of the machining time is same as that of the shaping process. Okay, the machining time is which is almost the same as that of the shaping process, but it can carry heavy work operations when compared to shaper. Then we are telling of the operations performed in planing machine or planning machine. Plan horizontal fan, vertical inclined surface, slot and grooves, curved surface that we have already discussed in the upper portions. Okay. Now we will be talking about the surface roughness obtainable with a machining surface. This surface roughness topic we have already discussed during our offline classes in your classroom. I hope so. It was the first day where we had a basic representation of a lathe and what are the parts and how do we have the surface roughness. I have told an example. I hope so you remember regarding the bench which we are sitting. Okay, the wooden surface, the surface roughness, the material properties, the cutting aspects. All this we have discussed. So now we will come with the surface roughness obtainable with various measuring process with respect to the planning machine. Okay, a planing machine. Now, surface roughness is caused due to short wavelength irregularities in the surface. Okay, the surface roughness is defined as a quantity measure of the process, marks developed during the creation of a surface, and other factors like the structure of the component. This is what happens. So, surface roughness is caused due to the short wavelength irregularities. It is mainly caused due to the short wavelength of the irregularities. It is mainly caused due to the short wavelength of the irregularities in the surface. And the surface roughness is defined as a quantitative measure. The surface roughness is defined as a quantitative measure of the process, which marks developed during the creation of the surface, and other factors like the structure of the component, etc., will be considered. And the surface roughness is denoted by I. The unit of surface roughness is micron meter or microns. Okay, since machining is often the manufacturing process that determines the final geometry and dimensions of the part, it also determines the part's surface structure. Surface roughness of a machine surface depends on the following factors. So what was, since machining is often the machining process, okay, since machining is often the machining process that determines the final geometry and the dimensions of a part, it also determines the part surface structure, and the surface roughness of a machine surface depends on the factors affecting the surface finish. The first one, the following factors affecting the surface finish during machining are, first one is, okay, are the following factors are cutting speed, we have already discussed, feed, the depth of cut. So these are the following factors affecting the surface finish during machining. And the tool geometry is the nose radius, rack angle, side cutting angle, the cutting edge, all this. Now, and the properties, and then the properties of the workpiece and the tools, type of machine tool, then the quality of the machine tool. So all this comes under the case of a surface roughness. So you see the factors affecting the surface finish are the main factors are the machining variables, the tool geometry, the properties of the workpiece or tool materials, type of machining tool, and the quality of the machining tool. All this, okay, what are the machining, under the machining tool comes the cutting speed, feed, and depth of cut. That's the rate of cutting, the amount of feed, and the material removal rate. The tool geometry is the nose radius, rack angle, side cutting angle, cutting edges, the various precise dimensions. Then the properties of the workpiece and the tool materials, mainly the properties, what are the heat absorption capacity, the type of the machine tool, according to the purpose, what type of machine tool is used, what is the base material machine tool, then the quality of the machine tool, the strength and the durability, everything comes up. Now you see the methods, material removal process. So these are the various manufacturing processes taking place for material removal process. That is we have already discussed turning, boring, planning, shaping, drilling, reaming, broaching, and broaching. We have not discussed about broaching. Rest everything we have discussed in this module. Now the finishing and the surface finishing process like cylindrical gardening, burnishing, polishing, honing, lapping, super finishing, then abrasive machining, then ultrasonic. So these are the values which have been taking place, the happening. So with respect to micrometers. Now the two most important, okay, I'll just finish up this topic and we'll end the class. The two most important factors affecting the surface finish are mainly the tool geometry and the feed and the cutting speed. These are the important factors affecting the surface, like the tool geometry, that's the nose radius, and the feed and the cutting speed. Now we will think, but in the case of slotting operations or in the shaping of internal surface, when there is a substantial overhang of the tool or the tool holder, the aspects of rigidity comes into the picture. Now, surface reference always plays an important role in determining how a real object will interact with the environment. That's the main case where it always plays an important role in determining how a real object will interact with the environment. And the rough surfaces usually wear more quickly and have higher frictional coefficients than smooth surfaces. That's what happens in the case of rough surfaces. So the rough surfaces usually wear is more quickly. The rough surfaces usually wear is more quickly and have higher frictional coefficients, and automatically will be having higher frictional coefficients than the smooth surfaces. So decrease in the roughness of surfaces will usually increase exponentially its manufacturing cost. And roughness is often a good predictor of the performance of a mechanical component, since irregularities in the surface may form lubrication sites or cracks and corrosion. So all this comes into the viewable aspects of the surface finish. So these are the factors which comes into the surface roughness. Okay, these are the factors mainly which comes under the surface roughness obtainable in various machining process, and this is mainly the case of the planing, shaping, slotting. All this are almost similar, but only in the case of slotting machines, the shaping of the internal surface, where the sustainable overhang of the tool or the tool holder and the aspect of rigidity comes into picture. In the case of slotting machines only, in the case of shaping of internal surfaces, the sustainable overhang of the tool or the tool holder and the aspects of rigidity. Okay, and then the aspects of rigidity and the aspects of rigidity all comes into the action. Okay, aspects of rigidity and all that comes into action. So this is what happens. So we have been discussing about today about the but planing and machine work holding devices and the surface roughness obtainable indexing. All this has been discussed today. Okay, just a second, I will just start with the taking attendance. Okay.